Hello and welcome to the Wednesday math segment. So we are talking about making bar graphs, and it is just one of the many different ways that we choose to display and interpret data. We like bar graphs and all these charts because we can do it in pictures rather than numbers, because a lot of people think in pictures, let's face it. So we're going to start here with this problem this is lesson 2.5 in Go Math. If you are in Saxon Math or using iReady or another thing, I'm sure the collecting and interpreting data will also be fine. This will relate very well to that. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this survey number over here. So with soccer, basketball, baseball, and football, and we're going to change this frequency table or a tally chart, depending on how fancy you want to get with your words. And we're going to change that into a bar graph. So I'm going to start by putting a nice title it and title it Favorite Team Sport. So there I have this label. Next, I'm going to do this side label. And so these are the different sports. So I'll say sport. And then I'll write the title of each one. So I don't get confused, I'm going to use the exact same order that they have up here. And I'm going to start with soccer, and then basketball, which I'm going to abbreviate, baseball with this marker. It's kind of challenging. And then I'm going to end with football. And this football, we're talking about American football. If you prefer to be European or the rest of the world, you can call this football as well. But we in the US call it soccer. Next, down here on the lower lines, I'm going to put this title as number of students. So number of students. So, and then for the numbers of students, I want to choose numbers for these lines that will be able to fit everything that I have in my frequency table. So I'm going to start with the biggest number, and that is 5, 10, 13, 14, pardon me, 14 for baseball. And that way I'm going to have 14, and that 14 is going to represent this line, not the space in between, but the line itself. Then I have to choose how I'm going to count backwards. Am I going to count back by ones? Am I going to skip count? And my least number is 4. So I'm going to have my first one is 0, because that would mean 0 people like it. My next line will be 4. Now I'm going to see if I can count by ones. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to 14. That's not going to work. Maybe if I skip count by twos, that will give me enough room. So let's see. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Well, if I skip count by twos, I could get it. Maybe if I did 2. So if I said 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. That looks like it'll work. So maybe I'll just change my strategy. So I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and my 14, I'm going to move back one line, 14, and then 16 will be this line, 14 here, and so forth. Now, comes the fun drawing part. So I'm going to look at soccer, and up here, soccer has 5. So remember that each time you have a cross mark, that counts as 5. So I have 5, 10, 12. So I'm going to go all the way to 12, which is this line. And I'm going to start on the 12 line. So that way I know exactly how far I need to go. So I'm going to go 12 like that. Next, I have basketball. Not very popular with this class, so I'm going to go to 4. I'm going to start at 4 and draw a little vertical line and connect it. So now I have a second bar. Next, I'm going to go to baseball, which is all the way to 14. So I'm going to start here at 14. I'm going to connect it with this line so it's nice and straight. And then take this one all the way out here to make another bar. And then football, which has 9. Ooh, that's an odd number. So where am I going to draw my line? I have 8 and 10. Well, halfway between 8 and 10 is 9. So that's where I'm going to draw my line, is between the 8 and the 10. So now that we have drawn all of our lines, we can shade them in to make it easier for people who would like to read it to see. So here's soccer with my pen that isn't working very well. I have basketball that I'll do a little hatch pattern with, and then baseball, which goes all the way out here, and then football we have here. So now with the colors and the hash marks, we can easily see with this particular class which sport was their favorite. Sometimes you can also see bar graphs in a vertical manner, and they both work the same way. It just depends on how you would like to display the data. So the next thing we're going to talk about, I'm going to use this same data off of this frequency chart or tally chart, and we're going to create a line plot. Okay, and we're back. Line plots can be used in a couple of different ways. We're going to be using this using the data here, soccer, basketball, baseball, and football. But also many times we could use it using numbers. And I believe I can also show you that way. So the first thing is, with a line plot, we need a line. And along the line, I need to make that give myself a little bit more room. So I'm going to redraw my line down here. On that line, we need to have the marks for what we're going to be counting. So in this case, I need 4 marks. And it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to have soccer. Then I'll have basketball. I'll have baseball and football. So what I'm going to do for this data is, for every time I see one of these, one of the hash marks, I'm going to change it from a hash mark to an X. So if I have 5, 10, 12 people who like soccer, I would have 12, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There for baseball, or basketball rather, I would only have 4 X's. 1, 2, 3, 4. Baseball has 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And football would have 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So using the data that we had here, we're basically transferring it from tally marks to little X's above each one. Next thing we're going to do is use some data from our own third grade class to make a line plot using our names. Here is another very common way in which you might see line plots used. It's to count the number of things that are the same. So what I have here is the number of letters in our names. So this information comes directly from our class, and I'll be showing how we do that. So I have my line. I want to make sure that when I'm drawing, I have this able to be seen on the camera. So what I did was go through our class list and count the letters in everybody's first name. And so in our class, we have people with as few as 4 letters, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I'm going to go over our list, and I'm going to put a little X mark above the number of the letters in each person's name. So many times we all go in ABC order, and people like me with the last name Waymire was always last. So I'm going to start at the bottom of the alphabet and work my way up. So we're going to start with Sam, and Sam has 6 letters, or Samuel has 6 letters in his name. So I'm going to put a little X above 6. Next we have Shradama, who has 7 letters. Micah has 5. Evan has 4. And Cash, I went by your full name, Cassius, so that is also 7. Chrissy, I went with Christine, and that's 9. Jacob has 5. Then Grace, even though you go by Gracie, I'm just going off of my roll list, and Grace has 5. Catherine has 9. And then we have some others. Ashlyn has 6. And so does Evelyn. Shona has 5. Hudson has 6. Wyatt has 5. Wow, the 5s and 6s. Caden has 6. Let's see if we have a tiebreaker here. Malene has 6. And Nicholas has 8. So now this is an easier way to visualize the distribution of how letters, or the names of the letters, are in our class. So we have the fewest, which is 4 and 8. That's Evan and Nicholas. We have the most, and we can see that it has 6 letters. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in our class that have 6 letters in their first name. 5 with 5, and 2 with 7 and 9, respectively. So this shows us how the data is distributed. As you go on in your mathematical careers, we can turn these things into either a scatter plot or even a line chart to show distribution of data. That's for a few grades ahead. For those of you who are watching, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you on Zoom tomorrow. Have a great evening.